Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, police arrest 24 persons suspected of carrying out attacks on police station, kidnapping and killing of police personnel and a staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Ebonyi State. 1 year after the terror attack on a Catholic church in Owo, Ondo State, some of the victims recount their experience and the agony they are left to live with. Operatives of the National Security and Civil Defense Force rescue a woman locked up by her father for 5 years in Jigawa State. And more law enforcement agents deployed to French cities of Marseille and Lyon amid fears of a fifth night of violent demonstrations following police shooting of a teenager.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's stock market rose 18.9% in the first half of 2023. As investors gained 5.3 trillion naira despite inflation and other macro headwinds.
On sports news tonight, American tennis star Madison Keys beats Daria Katsakina 6-2, 7-6 after a lengthy tie break to win Eastbourne International title for second time.
Nowhere to hide. This is what the police seems to be telling those suspected to have been behind the attacks on police stations, the killings of a staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and some police officers in Ebonyi State. This follows the arrest of 24 of the suspects by operatives of the Ebonyi State Police Command. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Faleye Olaleye, who briefed journalists at the command's headquarters in Abakaliki, the state capital, explained that the arrest of the suspect was achieved through intelligence-driven and community-based policing in the state.
24 of them that are here for various offenses. We have been battling them, even some non-state actors. Those who are responsible for killing some policemen, those who are just recently kidnapped INEC staff who can kill them, they kidnapped the wife. But I want to tell you that we have successfully rescued the wife and we neutralized some of them in Lokpanta in Abia State. And we have arrested 9 of them. They are part of these 24 we are parading today. My PRO will give you the breakdown of all the arrests we have made, and you can even have access to talk to them. And one thing I want to tell them is that since I stepped here, I told you I will give them a fight, bloody one. We have engaged them, and we have succeeded. And that is why we said, today, I'll come here. 24 of them are here. Some of them are already in the gun. Some of them are in the court. But this one, we want you to know. Because if we don't tell you this is what we are doing, you will not know what we have done. And that is exactly what we'll do today.
In Jigawa State, a 25-year-old woman who was locked up in a room by her father for 5 years is now breathing the air of freedom. She was rescued by operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in the state. Our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, has more on this.
On this very street is the residence of Malam Garba, a 67-year-old man who has allegedly locked away his daughter, Ummi Garba, for 5 years. Within the confines of this room, Ummi Garba's life became a living nightmare, an all-in-one restroom, bedroom, and dining area for half a decade. Safia Mustafa, a 50-year-old woman living just a few blocks away, became the unexpected hero who raised the alarm that eventually led to Ummi Garba's rescue.
The woman went there. As the woman come back, she told me that she even see the girl, they have tied her hand and leg. And if they want to give her food, they will put it for ground. She will just eat from there. Now I can't say, I didn't agree, let me go and see myself. Then I do one, this thing, I went there like, I come to visit the woman. I say, long time. I say, I just entered to come and greet him. So I saw the girl there.
Human rights activist Musbahu Basirka was among the first responders to the distress call.
We received a report from their neighbors, or from the neighbors to her father, who reported the case to us, and we immediately forwarded the case to the National Security and Civil Defense Corps headquarters at the state headquarters. We lodged a complaint in which we were given a gender officer to accompany us to the compound of the victim.
The suspects, Garba Musa and his wife, who happens to be Ummi's stepmother, are now in the custody of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps for further investigation.
A complaint that was lodged by a human rights activist that there was a complaint in an area that is Takul side here in Jigawa that a lady, a young girl, a 25-year-old, was locked inside the house. So upon bringing her to the command, she was taken by one of our officers to be bathed, a lady officer, a female officer, I mean, and put her into shape. So then we started listening to the complaints. And thereafter, we swing into action whereby we invited or arrested the father of the girl and her stepmom.
While Ummi has been physically rescued from her confinement, the emotional trauma she has endured and the dehumanizing experience she has had may forever leave an indelible mark on her life. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
The president today received his Guinea-Bissau counterpart and chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, at his residence in Ikoyi, Lagos. President Bola Tinubu has been in the nation's commercial nerve center since Tuesday after returning from London to spend the Eid al-Kabir holidays. The president's special advisor on special duties, communication and strategy, Mr. Dele Alake, told journalists that President Sissoco Embalo was in Lagos on a solidarity visit.
The president of Guinea-Bissau came to visit the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but it was strictly a private visit. It wasn't anything official at all. It was a private visit, and we had to be on hand to receive him. And our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, received him very warmly. And the president of Guinea-Bissau himself exuded some enthusiasm and warmth, which is uncharacteristic, untypical of what we saw in the past. He was very forthcoming. He was very expressive. He expressed his solidarity with the president of Nigeria and his readiness to cooperate with Nigeria at all times and with our current president. And he commended the laudable and policy initiatives of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 1 month. And he said that everybody in the world, in the international community, have been commending his giant strides. So he came to pay his solidarity and to pay courtesy call, as it were, and to, bond with him.
To political matters now. The leadership of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, is asking members of the National Assembly to collaborate with the executive arm of government in the overall interest of Nigerians. The national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, said Nigerians expect more from the new leadership of the National Assembly. He stated this in Kefi, Nasarawa State, when he received the delegation of senators led by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. On his part, Senator Akpabio, who was accompanied by other lawmakers on the visit, described the party chairman as a man of integrity that led the recent zoning arrangement in the National Assembly that produced the desired results. Since the inauguration of the new administrations in some states a month ago, the reality of the challenges of governance for them have begun to unfold gradually. For the state governors new to the office, it's ranging from insecurity to low revenue generation, and decaying infrastructure appears to be humongous. However, despite the odds, some of the state's chief executive appear poised to tackle the obstacles with vigor. In this next report, we kick off a series examining the challenges facing some of the governors, especially those entirely fresh on the job, beginning with Plateau State.
The ship of governance in Plateau State is currently sailing amid challenges including domestic and foreign debt in the region of 200 billion naira, a backlog of unpaid salaries and allowances, as well as other emoluments, resulting in an industrial action. Added to these is a decade-old security issue resulting in frequent deadly attacks on communities. Acknowledging the enormity of the task before him, Governor Muftuang, in his inauguration speech, promised to chart a new course for Plateau State by initiating policies and programs that will engender peace and prosperity.
Today I prophesy that the new plateau by this inauguration is born. The glory of Plateau shall manifest in the coming years to God's glory and to our collective pride. We shall walk round the clock to provide the quality of leadership and governance that our dear citizens deserve and yearn for.
Citizens of the home of peace and tourism are convinced that the state is endowed with natural and human resources, including a favorable weather condition suitable for agriculture. Therefore, the administration must look inwards for wealth creation.
Let him find a way of giving everyone in the state that sense of belonging in terms of appointment, in terms of recognition when it comes to sharing or giving of dividends of democracy. That needs to be done, and the moment that is done, everybody will feel a sense of belonging.
The continuing security challenge in the state presents great concern to the administration, but the government says it is working with security agencies in the state to draw up a new strategy to tackle it headlong.
We're doing everything. We're liaising with the security authorities. We are re-energizing Operation Rainbow. We have asked for further deployments just about 10 days ago or so. I was at the police headquarters when we were deploying another 110 mobile policemen to the Mangu and Bassa. And for security, the government is supporting with any resources needed.
Revenue generation constitutes another headache, but for the secretary to the state government, there are plans to improve on the state's IGR.
You see, the major source of IGR right now is payee, but that shouldn't be the case. There are so many opportunities that because the street traders and all these disorganized situations that we find in town, most of those people are not paying taxes. They're not paying taxes, but we need to close all the loopholes, plug in the gaps, and I'm sure by the time he appoints a substantive head for the Board of Internal Revenue, and the person will be capable to do the needful.
Some solutions may also lie in the problem, as the government has identified a number of abandoned projects across the state as potential revenue-generating structures which only require temporary financial intervention. Some of these include the Hill Station Hotel, Brewery Agro Research Company that was reacquired by the last administration, as well as the uncompleted Zaria Road Stadium.
We need to upgrade Jos. Right now it is a glorified village. The roads are in very bad state in a lot of the areas. Some are even completely unattended to. Then apart from that, the Hill Station Hotel, we don't have any hotels. We cannot host any national program. Maybe the National Council on Works, National Council on Tourism cannot be held in Jos because we don't have the support facilities, the hotels that can host such a big, except we come and put people in 30 different small hotels. So these are issues that we have to look at. We have to see how to help. We're already talking with quite a number of people, but we're looking mainly at PPP arrangements.
The new administration may have hit the ground running with a task force set up to recover government property illegally acquired under the past administration. No less than 300 vehicles, several buildings and landed properties have been repossessed.
But so far, I can tell you that we've sent an interim report to the government, and we're able to identify quite a number number of vehicles. I think about 300 or so that were just removed, especially from the government office. So these are some of the things we're looking at. Then we have quite a number of cases like that. You know, people converting properties that belong to, look at land and buildings too. You renovate a government land, then you auction it, then you buy it yourself. If people did not build that thing, will you come and meet it?
While they set to work, Plateau citizens can only hope for the best.
In part two, after the break, internally displaced persons in Juba local government area of Yobe State lament food shortage and poor shelter in their camps. That's in a moment. Join us again.
The Duchess International Hospital opened its doors in October 2021. The mission of the hospital is to reverse medical tourism. We take particular care here at the Duchess to bring together a combination of the brightest and the best locally, as well as Nigerians in the diaspora who are interested in returning to do very good work for the benefit of our patients here in this country.
The good thing is that we have all international expertise here, all international facilities here, international people working here. Everything is coming together in a space which was considered not great in terms of the availability of healthcare.
Access Bank, of course, has been able to provide us with a robust range of products and services that has enabled us to deliver that standard and quality of healthcare that is integral to our mission as an organization.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television Lagos. Our main news again. Police arrest 24 persons suspected of carrying out attacks on police stations, kidnapping and killing of police personnel and the staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Ebonyi State. 1 year after the terror attack on the Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State, some of the victims recount their experience and the agony they are left to live with. Operatives of the National Security and Civil Defense Force rescue a woman locked up by her father for 5 years in Jigawa State. And more law enforcement agents deployed to French cities of Marseille and Lyon amid fears of a fifth night of violent demonstrations following police shooting of a teenager. Over a year after the sad incident in Owo, Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, where Christian faithful were attacked by terrorists during a Sunday service, some of the survivors say they are struggling to put that ordeal behind them. Our correspondent, Timothy Crown Adiribire, visited some of the victims who are asking for support, not just from the government, but also well-meaning individuals.
On June the 5th, 2022, deep cloud formed around St. Francis Catholic Church, Ogwaluawo, in Ondo State, and the worshippers knew not that that day was going to be a day of blood and sorrow. He sucks his finger in complete oblivion of whatever goes on around him. 1-year-old Yanoluwa Nileke is denied the early childhood care that only one's mother can provide. He's had to live with his aunt since age 3 months, when he lost his mother, on whose back he sat and slept when she fell to the explosive device launched by men who visited the Lord's house on the Lord's day, with no other mission than kill and destroy. Esther Onileke, Yanoluwa's mother, had joined other faithful for the Thanksgiving and Pentecost Sunday service at the St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church, Ogwaluawo, in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria. But like 40 other members, she didn't make it out alive. She died during the murder in the cathedral. Mr. Joseph Onileke doesn't seem to be finding it easy with the loss of his 41-year-old wife. He now plays the role of both father and mother to the two sons, but the third, the 1-year-old, is under the care of his sister-in-law. He was doubly hit by that day's incident. His 6-year-old son, Benedict, hit in the head, has become a regular visitor to the doctors after the surgery done on his skull.
I cried even in the hospital when the information got to me that my wife was one of those people that have passed away. So I nearly filed for the people that reported the news that why you not inform me earlier than this, that I have gone to that place. So they say because of my own condition. So I miss her because I miss her. And you see, after I will do all those things now, we suffer a lot. She suffers.
Mr. Onileke is asking for jobs to support his children, who are now on 5-year-long scholarship provided by the church. Although she made it out alive, 48-year-old Mrs. Rashidat Adesheluka did not make it out in one piece. She's been in this position, unable to carry herself since the sad incident when she was shot in her buttock and her spine.
It got to a point I realized that a bullet entered my body. So I tried to look at it. I realized that my leg has been swelling up. Even before raising down my eye, I had another one again. And I said, God, the hour has come. Take care of my children, my husband, my mother, because I don't think I'll survive it. So that is how, because there's a woman besides me, that one has already died. So I thought I just begin to pray to God. Thank God I've seen him before death.
The mother of 3 boys is one of the victims who get compensation from the state government, but she needs more. Her family is said to have made contact with a hospital in Germany, but that is with a price. 108 million naira is expected to make that treatment possible. It's been 1 year since the attack, but the memory is still growing on Reverend Father Andrew Abayomi, who was the presiding priest. Reverend Abayomi had come to service with whole joy to officiate his first Pentecost service after his ordination 5 months earlier.
In fact, I remember some of these children were trying to enter into my vestment because I was still with my ab, my chasuble, that is the outer where had been removed. So they were trying to enter into it, even some of the adults, while there. So the children, when with the explosive now, they said, Father, pray, Father, pray. Are we going to just die like this? Is this the way we are going to die?
Drumbeat rends the air as worshippers move to the rhythm of the music in another Sunday worship since resumption of service. This Christian faithful at St. Francis Catholic Church of Gwaluwa in Ondo State appear to put the ugly incident of June the 5th, 2022 behind them as they gather for a Sunday service, the last in the month of June 2023. The agent of death tried in vain to put out the fire. The topic of fear takes a central part of the service and the sermon. But these faithful are grateful for life in spite of their pain. They're not unmindful of some of them who now live in their memory. Timothy Crown, Adiribigbe, Channels Television News.
Such a tragedy indeed. Now in Yobe State, some residents are commending the troops of the Joint Task Force, Operation Hadinkai, for restoring relative peace in the northeast, especially on the Damaturu-Maiduguri Road, where several people, especially passengers, were either killed or kidnapped. The residents expressed their gratitude at a luncheon with the Chief of Army Staff and troops in Damaturu. According to them, The return of peace is boosting the economic activities in the area once again.
The 133-kilometer Damaturu-Maiduguri road is a major one, linking Yobe and Borno states. This used to be the epicenter of the Boko Haram activities. Many a commuter were either killed or kidnapped on this road. Now, this road is considered safe for motorists thanks to the military.
It is not easy to describe the progress they have made in bringing peace to the northeast since this insurgency started. But briefly, you can see that from the time when there were curfews, that you cannot even go out of your house for so many days, you can see that, alhamdulillah, they have performed, inshallah, wonderfully well.
To show appreciation and boost the morale of the troops, the newly appointed Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, is hosting the troops to a lunch. The Army Chief is represented by the Commander of Sector 2, Operation Hadinkai, Major General Mairenzo Saraso. He urges the troops not to relent in their efforts to restore peace in the state.
I intend to consolidate on prior achievements of the Nigerian Army towards ensuring that the complex security challenges confronting our nation are completely decimated. Therefore, I enjoin you to redouble your efforts and give your very best in making this goal a reality. On my part, I pledge to make your welfare my utmost priority. I will ensure all avenues of improving the capabilities of troops in discharging their responsibilities are harnessed. I urge you to remain resolute, loyal, and continue to exhibit the core values of the Nigerian Army.
As grateful as they may be, many Yobe residents and motorists who travel on the Yobe-Maiduguri highway would want the relative peace that has returned to this route sustained and improved upon, and then spread to other parts of the state and region.
May have returned to most parts of Yobe State, but over 1,000 internally displaced persons from across 4 villages in Juba local government area are still camped outside their ancestral homes. They are lamenting food shortage and poor shelter at their settlement, where they have made temporary home for the last decade. In this special report, Channel Television visited the unofficial camp in Juba town to assess their condition and how they fared throughout the holidays.
This internally displaced persons camp is not official. It hosts about 1,500 victims of insurgency from 4 communities of Ambia Tasha, Ambia Kura, Ambia Shehuri, and Ambia Bukati in Yobe State. On a tour of the camp, we observed that basic amenities like portable drinking water, electricity, and toilets are almost non-existent. Even though it is a season of celebration, they say they feel left out, lacking the necessities to join in the Eid al-Kabir celebration.
Salah, we are used to it. Nothing has been given to us. Out of the numbers you are seeing, those that slaughtered ram in their homes are not up to 1/3. And whenever there is distribution of palliative, the community segregates us, saying it is not meant for IDPs, but their community. It's Salah, and no one gave us even 500 naira. We had to labor in people's farms to survive. Out of the 5 people here, you hardly get one that slaughtered an animal in the house for Salah.
Barma Ali, a 40-year-old with a family of 7, is concerned that in the past years, they've not received any food palliatives, and they depend on selling firewood for farming to feed their families.
It's farming season and no food. Many had to bring firewood in a distance of about 7 kilometers to sell and get food. And sometimes buyers are the problem. We sell it 350 to 400 naira as to buy half measure of gari. And for those who cannot afford to go to farm, street begging is their last option.
Neglect can leave a sour taste in the mouth and come with some consequences. Professor James Ngada sees serious implications pending. Meanwhile, the Northeast Development Commission is on the verge of taking care of the IDPs further.
In Damatru, we are building 250 out of the 500. I will say the percentage of completion now is almost 70 or 80%. And we hope to continue to encourage our contractors to monitor them and ensure that this project is delivered as expected.
We will regret it later, because what is actually happening in society is that these small children and these people that you see, that they are growing up, you know, they are nursing grudges in their hearts. They are not happy about what is going on. They are not happy about what society is doing. Well, this is a time that at least government should recognize these people, provide for their needs, take care of them, no matter how small. What is available should be given to them.
The government of Yobe, a state which is recovering from insurgency, must work towards providing total security in recaptured areas to allow the IDPs return home to pick up the broken pieces of their life and continue with their economic activities.
Other matters now. The head of service of Edo State, Mr. Anthony Okubowa, today led commissioners, permanent secretaries, civil servants to clean up some popular markets in Benin City, the Edo State capital. He said the exercise is to honor the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, for creating a conducive work environment for civil servants in the state. The cleanup took place at the Oba Market, New Benin Market, and other parts of the state.
Today, you know that the Edo State Public Service has the best workspace environment in the whole of this country. Today, you know that the Edo State Public Service is the most digitalized public service in the whole of this country today. Today, you know that the Edo State Public Service is the only one that gives automatic employment to first-class graduates across the country. You know that we're the best in everything because Mr. Governor has made us the best. So today we felt on his 66th birthday that we should celebrate him. And you know, Mr. Governor is not one who likes, pomp and pageantry. Otherwise, we'd have done a lot more today. But we're advised that rather than, roll out the drums and all that we should do something a bit more subtle. And that's why we're here today. We know the governor's interest and passion for the environment.
The Taraba state government has inaugurated a 17-man task force to implement the ban on irregular mining, as well as unauthorized cutting and processing of economic trees, such as the African rosewood, also known as Madrid. The secretary to the Taraba state government, who represented Governor Abu Kefas at the inauguration ceremony, says the decision to enforce the ban is based on security reports received by the government. According to him, the activities of illegal miners have posed a significant threat to the ecosystem.
The suspension of mining activities is total. The perpetrators and their collaborators, including traditional rulers, howsoever known, that is to say, ward head, village head, district head, graded chiefs that are found culpable should be dealt with in accordance with the provisions of the law. And any other person that is coming into the state for the purpose of carrying this business violates the extant provisions of the order is within the purview of the jurisdiction of this task force. In furtherance to his powers under other matters related to the environment, the activities of harvesters and or traders in the business of what is known as rosewood harvesters aka Madrid harvesters, falls within the jurisdiction of this task force, and same is hereby banned and suspended indefinitely. So this task force, apart from total suspension of mining, is also to ensure that the activities of those dealing in the cutting of rosewood, or known as Madrid wood, is illegal in Taraba State. And this task force has the support of government to ensure that there's full compliance with this law.
To education now. Amid complaints of proliferation of universities in Nigeria, the immediate past Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Professor Abubakar Rashid, is lamenting the low rate of enrollment of Nigerian students into tertiary institutions in the country. Professor Rashid explains that out of a population of Nigerians old enough to enter tertiary institutions, only about 1% is currently enrolled in Nigerian universities. He also maintained that the quality of graduates from the nation's tertiary institutions remain commendable, given their performance in schools abroad.
It is an unusual situation. For the first time in the history of the Nigeria Universities Commission, an executive secretary resigned his appointment to return to the classroom. Expectedly, many will want to see this through. So staffers of the commission, including a former executive secretary and some vice-chancellors of universities, converge here to witness for themselves.
Confirming that I have secured.
The former executive secretary opens up to tell the gathering the reasons for his decision.
Due to some personal reasons and my desire to spend the rest of my active service years in the classroom at Bayero University, Kano, I decided to write to Mr. President through the Minister of Education to seek permission to vacate my position 3 years before the end of my second 5-year term.
The acting executive secretary of the commission, Mr. Chris Mayaki, pledges to consolidate on the achievements of the former helmsman.
As a closely knit management committee, to do our best to continue to consolidate and improve on the great work that our esteemed executive secretary has carried out during what has turned out to be a brilliant academic and public service career, and by so doing to uphold his esteemed values.
Done with the official handover, the former executive secretary, who refused to rate the performance of the commission under his watch for 7 years, applauds the quality of Nigerian university graduates. He, however, laments the poor rate of enrollment.
In Nigeria, I believe in general, we are proud of the quality of our education. We are happy that almost all our graduates who secure admissions abroad, particularly to UK, US, Canada, and so on, do very, very well.
Professor Abubakar Rashid, who first assumed office in August 2016 for a 5-year tenure, had his tenure renewed in August 2021, but with a passion to return to the classroom, he voluntarily resigned his appointment on the 26th of June 2023.
As part of its move to boost culture and tourism, the Ogun State government says it will be tapping into the potential of Ojude Oba and replicating a success story across the state. Governor Dapo Abiodun said this in Ijebu-Ode during the 2023 edition of the festival, which held yesterday. The event, which was well attended by important personalities and indigenes from far and near, also marked the 63rd year on the throne of the Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebu land, Oba Sikiru Adetono. Our correspondent Chris Alems has this report.
It's an annual convergence of sons and daughters of Ijebu land in Ogun State, and never falls short of excitement. Call it the Festival of Colors, and you won't be wrong. The Ojude Oba, which means the King's Court, puts elegance, poise and posh on display. Over Over 70 age-grade groups, men and women, clad in style, take turns to pay homage to their king and the paramount ruler of Ijebu land, Oba Sikiru Adetono, who's been on the throne for 63 years. The governor, Prince Dakpo Abiodun, minces no words in expressing his delight at what Ojudi Oba is and has become, and would want to take it a notch higher.
Perhaps we can tweak this and turn it into a carnival, an Ogun State carnival that happens once a year. And we can now allow for all parts of Ogun State, the Yewa, the Aworis, the Egbas, the Remos, to fuse together, come together for a couple of days in Abeokuta and display their rich culture and tradition.
The special guest of honor at the occasion is real estate Mongol, multi-billionaire and philanthropist Sir Olu Okewo. He says he's honored to have been conferred such a position.
I am very, very, very happy for KBC to have nominated me as the special guest of honor for this auspicious occasion. I have butterflies in my stomach. As you can see, KBC is strong, hale and healthy. It's a great day of joy, a great day for the Ijebu Kingdom, a great day of celebration, and a great day of conviviality. We give God all the glory and all the honor.
He also seizes the opportunity to lend his voice alongside other notable Nigerians to the call for support for the country's new administration.
He's a man that has given us hope. He's a man who is doing the right thing. And I think with the right way it's going, Nigerians will soon breathe a sigh of relief.
He has started very well. We should all just now pray that he remains focused and going to show courage and tenacity in his actions, policies, and decisions.
The Ojudi Oba is a celebration of warriors, conquest, strength, dexterity, and loyalty. These horsemen, representing various households, including Balogun Kuku, come in their numbers and elements to show a mastery of their equestrian skills while paying homage to the monarch. The Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebu land is proud of the custom and tradition that has continued to promote the unity and strengthen the bond amongst the Ijebus.
This occasion has been on for centuries. I've started by our forefathers, and both Muslim and the Christians participate. And it's a very big occasion in Ijebu land. It shows you the oneness of Ijebu as a people. It's only through unity we can achieve greatness, we can make progress in the country. And that's an example of what we are showing the country today here.
As diverse as the colors might be, the collective voice is that of unity and progress for a people unwaveringly committed to building a support system for one another. Perhaps the country has a lesson or two to learn from here. From Ijebu, Ogun State, Chris Alems, Channels Television News.
Now let's find out what's happening in the world of business. Lali Williams has all those details.
Thanks, Melinda. In business news, the Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria have warned Nigerians to brace themselves for an increase in bread prices. The association claims that economic reforms, particularly the unification of the exchange rate, have negatively affected their production. According to Mr. Emmanuel Nora, president of the Association, wheat and sugar importers previously sourced foreign exchange from the parallel market. However, with the exchange rate now unified, they're using this as justification to increase prices. The association's president added that wheat importers had initially planned to raise the price of wheat, but put it on hold due to rising tensions. Overall, the association predicts that bread prices in Nigeria will rise as a result of these economic factors affecting the baking industry. And equity investors in Nigeria have caused a smile as their wealth rose by 5.3 trillion naira in the first 6 months of 2023, with the all-share index above the 60,000 psychological mark to close at 60,933 points, which is the highest level since May 2008. For the weekly performance, the positive performance is driven largely by interest in Airtel Africa, MTN Nigeria, and GTCO. However, following the shorter trading week, activity levels were weaker than in the previous week, with volume and value traded declining by 31.6% week-on-week and 1.5% each week-on-week. Performance across sectors was broadly positive as all key indexes closed in the green. The Ikeja Hotel topped the gainers chart for the week as the stock price climbed by 33%, while Secure Electronic Technology PLC drew the shortest straw. While the banking sector dominated top trades for the week, with Access Holdings, UBA, and GTCO at the top 3 positions. Similarly, the NASD unlisted securities market closed the week in positive territory. The NASD index rose slightly by 0.16% to close above the 750 points as the market cap settled at 1.04 trillion naira. Total turnover was very positive. Volume and value traded during the week surged by about 4,000 and 1,300% each. Niger Delta Exploration and Production was top scorer on the gainers leaderboard, while NASD PLC led the losers. Meanwhile, Central Securities Clearing System was the most traded stock by volume. And the social media now, Twitter is implementing limits on the number of tweets that various accounts can read per day in order to deter excessive data scraping and system manipulation. According to Executive Chair Elon Musk, verified accounts will be temporarily limited to 6,000 posts a day, while unverified accounts will have a limit of 600 posts a day. New unverified accounts will be restricted to 300 posts a day. These limits will soon be increased to 8,000 posts per day for verified users, 800 posts per day for unverified users, and 400 posts per day for new unverified users, as stated by Musk in a separate tweet without specifying the implementation timeline. This move by Twitter comes after the platform recently announced a requirement for users to have an account to view tweets, which Musk referred to as a temporary emergency measure. Twitter has taken several measures under Musk ownership to regain the trust of advertisers and boost subscription revenue, including incorporating verification checkmarks into the Twitter Blue program. And gold has experienced a 5% gain in both futures trading and the spot price, bullion during the first half of 2023. However, concerns over potential interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve weakened the metal's support at the $1,900 level. The August gold contract in New York's COMEX settled at $1,921 per ounce, marking a 0.6% increase for the day. Although it briefly dipped to $1,908, just above the 3-month low of $1,900. The rebounding weekly gains stood at 0.4%, while monthly gains reached 2.7% and yearly gains stood at 4.7%. The spot price of gold, which is closely monitored by some traders, that reflects the physical trade. The bullion rose to $1,919.76, up 0.6%, about $11.51. The gold's price increase on Friday followed the release of data from the Commerce Department showing that a key U.S. inflation indicator grew by 3.8% in the year to May, in line with expectations and below the critical 4% level for the first time in over 2 years. And that's it on business news. Back to Melinda with the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Ladi. Cases of sexual and gender-based violence continue to rise in the country, undermining the health and dignity of its victims and worsened by a culture of silence. According to data from the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, sexual and gender-based violence against women by their husbands is put at 19%, for emotional violence, 14%, for physical violence, and 5% for sexual abuse. Our correspondent Nanchin Vincent reports on how this menace is being tackled in Kano State.
Reports say 1 in 3 Nigerian women has in one way or the other experienced physical violence by age 15 to 49 years, from forced and early marriage to physical, mental, or sexual assault. This young lady had a dream of becoming a medical doctor. That hope was dashed as she was married off to a man over 20 years older than her. She narrates her ordeal.
I was 18 years old when my parents forced me into marriage. I was not interested in the man, but I had no choice. The man used to beat me with wounds all over my body. I have 3 miscarriages. There was a time I just want to commit suicide and die. After 4 years of marriage and 2 children, I summoned courage and ran to human rights for help. All my dreams to become a medical doctor have been dashed. I'm only asking for help. I don't want to marry him again.
The Human Rights Commission in Kano is looking into this particular case and many others, especially now that the state has domesticated the Child Rights Protection Law. The matter of sexual and gender-based violence issues appears to be on the increase in Kano. The concern is that not domesticating the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, VAP, in the state is not helping.
We call all the parties involved, including the respondent, that is the husband, then the family. If they have parents, we call the parents and discuss it amicably. If they agreed or we resolved it at our level so that the marriage can be dissolved and deal with accordingly. But if it couldn't, we refer the case to courts.
At a recent workshop organized by the Federation of Muslim Women Association of Nigeria, the need for strong civic advocacy against SGBV was highlighted as a major factor to ending the trend.
We have a lot of challenges in Kano due to the inability of the state government to pass the Violence Against Persons and Prohibition. But in NAPTIP, because of our TIP Act, we were able to prosecute a lot of cases that has to do with gender-based violences.
It's a training that we're doing around bylaws development. So in the end, it is expected that some of these bylaws will complement the efforts of the VAP, which has been passed in Jigawa and also Zamfara State. Looking at the recent Child Act, which has been passed also in Kano State, we're trying to see how we can develop a synergy between the stakeholders so that these issues will be well addressed in the communities and also in the society.
When it comes to the menace of SGBV, girls and women are mostly affected, sometimes a few boys and men. However, to ensure that no one is a victim, all hands from all strata of the society must be on deck to scale up interventions to prevent and respond to gender-based violence. From Kano State, Nanchin Vincent, Channels Television News.
Welcome to Sports News. The Super Falcons of Nigeria will on Sunday depart for Australia to step up their preparations for this year's 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. The nine-time African champions will begin a 15-day training camp before the tournament begins with the India base in Brisbane, which is also venue for 2 of their matches. Super Falcons' opening match is against Olympic champions Canada at Melbourne's Rectangular Stadium on July 21st. Before matches against co-host Australia and Republic of Ireland on July 27th and 31st, respectively, at Lang Park in Brisbane. And world number 25, Madison Keys overcame Daria Katsakina to win the women's single event at Eastbourne International. The 28-year-old American outlasted Katsakina, converting a 5th match point in the second set tie-break to claim her 7th career title.
Set match key.
Our champion for the second time, Madison Keys.
Meanwhile, Argentina's Francisco Cerundolo claimed the Eastbourne International title after defeating second seed Tommy Paul 6-4, 1-6, 6-4. The title at the 2,250 event is only the second of the 24-year-old Argentine's career since turning pro in 2018. Having won his rain-delayed semi-final earlier on Saturday against another Mackenzie McDonald, Cerundolo hit 28 winners to down Paul in just under 2 hours.
Tom Pearce will present the Rothsay International Eastbourne Winners' Trophy. And there'll be a bottle of nice...
That's it on sports. It's back to you, Melinda.
Many thanks, Chris. On the international scene, as fears grow over a 5th night of riots following the police shooting of a teenager, more police have been deployed to the French cities of Marseille and Lyon. Tension is reported to have risen between police in Marseille and protesters, with officials throwing tear gas. This comes as the funeral of the 17-year-old boy killed by police was held in a Paris suburb. There were reports of large crowds to have attended the funeral, although the family had asked the media to stay away. French President Emmanuel Macron has cancelled his scheduled visit to Germany as a result of the crisis. Over 1,300 people were arrested across France in the last rioting last night, which witnessed widespread vandalism and looting. And over 50 people are dead after a road accident in Londiani, Western Kenya. The accident occurred last night when a lorry carrying a shipping container veered off the road and plowed into several vehicles. And the main news again. Operatives of the Ebonyi State Police Command have arrested 24 persons suspected of carrying out attacks on police stations, kidnapping and killing of police personnel and the staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission in the state. And some survivors of the attack on the Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State have recounted their experience and the agony they are left to live with 1 year after the terror attack. That's the news at 10 tonight. I'm Melinda Akinlami. On behalf of the team, have a good night.
The rains are here, and the litany has begun.
strange because the series of demolitions in the nation's capital a few years ago seriously reduced the spate of flooding